All right, and we're live. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to another Near Foundation Town Hall. I will let you know these keep getting more and more exciting. We have some awesome folks on today, an awesome lineup. I'm not going to spoil too much because I'm going to kick it off to Marique for a proper introduction this time. I stole Ilya's spotlight last time. But what I will say is, stemming from something that I alluded to in the last town hall, we'll have a little bit more of a sneak peek into this at the end. But without going into too much, I'll go ahead and kick it over to Marique for an introduction and we'll get started.
Thank you so much, Marcus, for this intro. It's really great to be here and to see you all again. I was away 2 weeks ago when actually I was in an event in Paris, so great to be here in person. Okay, a lot has been happening actually. If I start by looking at partnerships, it's definitely been a very productive couple of weeks for NEAR. I'm sure most of you have seen some of the super exciting partnerships that have been announced, and most recently on Monday, Alibaba Cloud. In addition to that, last week we also shared more about our partnership with Urbit and also Skodia India, both quite different but equally very exciting. Recently, we also announced a partnership with Vortex Gaming, which is a Web3 subsidiary of Korea's largest gaming community in VEN. And this comes on the back of our recent announcement with MarbleX. Now, I think it's fair to say that the incredible Korea hub, thanks to their help, NEAR is poised to become probably the #1 player in that market, which is very exciting. Talking actually about Korea, let's move into events. One thing actually that I think is also in full motion around the world are events. Some excellent recent Korea events co-hosted by NEAR Korea, but also hashed. Tours in Vietnam, quite a lot of things actually happening around Europe, in France, in Switzerland, and now Collision in Canada is in full swing. Without forgetting, of course, to mention several hackathons that have been happening over the last couple of weeks around the world. Now, next up on events, if you are around Paris in July, ECC is coming up and we'll be hosting a 2-day side conference there. You can find more detail on near.org/ECC. Talking about events, I hope you're all getting ready for NearCon. I know it feels like it's far away, but actually it's not that far away. It's coming and tickets are actually selling fast. So what to expect for NearCon? First, in Asia, in September, there'll be Korea Blockchain Week, where we'll be back September 4 to 7, and we'll have quite a presence. And then Vietnam, September 8 to 12, go to nearapac.org. Over 1,000 tickets already have been acquired or basically booked already by future participants. So that's going very fast. And we'll be also in Singapore, Token 2049. NearCon, November 7 to 10, that will be back in Lisbon. And so if you want to get your tickets, it's fully on chain, go to near.org/NearCon, and you can also apply to be a speaker. Quite a lot, partnerships, events, community. The community continues to grow and gather around the Near Digital Collective. Over 1,000 humans have been verified in a very few days, which is the basis of the upcoming governance. If you don't have yet your proof of humanhood, go on iamhuman.app. The experience is very slick. Now, as Marcus alluded to, we have a great agenda today with some special guests coming from the ecosystem, which I'm really looking forward to because I think it's always exciting to hear firsthand from what's going on. So I'll do a brief intro of our NEAR Foundation's missions and convictions. DDub will give an update on Q2 OKRs, and then Max from DevHub will be sharing the latest on actually DevHub and what's happening on that front. And we'll then hear from recent ecosystem projects, Murder Mystery Club, Music Feast, Genadrop, Indexer, and XP Network. Last but not least, the NEARWEEK team will be joining us to share their latest updates. And to finish up, you'll hear from the new TownHall Hub. We talked to you about that. We said we need a place to gather it all, and it's coming up. As always, if there is topics you want to see or discuss, or if you want to present, please reach out. You know where to find us, and I'm sure you all know Marcus. Now, moving on. So, mission, conviction, and why we are here. Before getting into that, I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about why we're all here and why the work we do matters more than ever. And one question I've been actually thinking about a lot with regards to technology is, are we creating technology that is in the service of humanity, or are we putting humanity further in the service of technology and the large corporations and financial institutions that control it? And that's why the move to Web3 is very important, because it actually offers us the chance to create a change in how we interact with technology and also with each other. And that's a true potential of Web3, to create a more inclusive, fair, and open world. And therefore, it's a chance for all of us participating to regain ownership of data, privacy, rather than having to surrender it to gain access to some sort of product or platform. And that's what I think of when I think of the open web and what's possible with the technology. And that's what's at the core and the heart of NEAR Foundation's mission, to foster the adoption of the open web by supporting the self-sustainable growth of the NEAR ecosystem, with each and every one of you actually playing a very important role into that. Now, the environment we're in isn't easy, but we're very well positioned, and we have the beginning of something very special with the evolution of NEAR from a layer 1 to the blockchain operating system. The next few years, as I see it, are most probably about enduring to thrive. And so it's requiring all of us to focus on essentials and fundamentals and to prioritize what matters most, and most importantly, to work well together. No better ecosystem to build this with. Now, moving on, our convictions remain completely unchanged and unchattered. The ease of developing, ease of user experience, and being a unifying force within Web3 are core pillars for NEAR, and therefore why the positioning NEAR is the boss, not leaving away the layer 1. It's a fundamental pillar of the blockchain operating system, but just our evolution in how we can do more are very important for that. The way we attract millions and billions of users has been consistent, and we think is actually bearing fruit. Top-down, actually thinking top-down strategic partnership, whether small or large, but partnership that enable us to actually attract developers and users and prove use cases, and bottom-up incredible work done by each and every one of you, the entire community. And also for builders, we've evolved, as you know, our grant program into Horizon for having and the ability to foster better relationships among participants, but also, for example, with backers or access to fractionalized work. And all of that culminating into access and primitives of NEAR technology. And next up, I believe, DDub, it's over to you for OKRs.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. So we are just about finished up with Q2. We have one more week or so. So where are we? So in North Star, we had a goal of 1.2 million monthly active accounts. We are just under that at around 1.1 million monthly actives. So close to that goal. In terms of the main objectives, the first one, NEAR, is the blockchain operating system. So we did quite well. So NEAR.org was one of the major milestones which we successfully migrated. And then in terms of driving members to NEAR Social, we are just at around 16.5 thousand as of today. And in terms of Twitter, we are just under 2 million followers on the main Twitter handle. And then most impressively, we had a goal of increasing our share of voice by 50%. To start the quarter, we were at around like 5% or so. So the goal was to just increase that to around 7 or 8%. But we actually over 3x'd it and have been around 17% over the past few weeks. So this has grown tremendously, basically upon the launch of NEAR.org on the boss. And it's sustained since then, which is amazing to see. In terms of NEAR becoming a thriving decentralized ecosystem, two of the major things here were all things NDC and getting to V1, which is just about to be rolled out. As NEARWEEK mentioned, we have 1,000 or more than 1,000 verified humans. So amazing job to all of us in the community, to Blaze in particular, but the whole NDC. And then the other major thing was Horizon, getting Horizon launched. So incredible job there. We had one goal of getting just 10 projects onboarded, but we currently have over 100 projects with profiles as part of Horizon. The one red mark in this entire page is external capital being raised by native projects. No fundraises this quarter. So that's the one red mark we have in Q2. And then last, NEAR is where Web2 goes to become Web3. Again, as NEARWEEK mentioned, we've seen a ton of amazing partnerships being announced, some of which have already gone live on mainnet, but a lot more to come later this year. So incredible job to the BD team, but also to all of us and all of the hubs around the world. And that is it for me. Max, over to you.
Thanks, David. Hey, everyone. My name is Max. I'm currently working in Pagoda, but basically treat me just like any other community member. And I'm here to tell you about DevHub. Yeah, so I gotta just gonna start with what DevHub is, what you probably know it about it, because we're doing so many things. But the 4 categories of things that you probably know us the best is developer events. So we're taking care of all kind of small and even large developer events like hackathons, sometimes associated with like brand-focused events. For NEAR, sometimes it's a small scale, like garage style hacking events. We also get NEAR people into third-party events, so it's like local representation is important. And today we have 1 or multiple events every week run by the Developer Hub, which I'm very happy that is happening, and our ambitions are way larger than that, actually. You also heard that we've been doing technical proposals for quite a while. So if you are coming from, let's say, Ethereum ecosystem or any other blockchain ecosystem, you know that this is like an important heartbeat of the community. The technical proposal discussions, sometimes they take half a year at a time to review, but at NEAR, it's 6 weeks at most. And we've been working through dozens or maybe even pushing closer to hundreds proposals right now. It depends on actually how you count them. So like definitely several dozen of proposals, but maybe even more than that. And it's been all over the tech stack, from the standards like contract standards to protocol to doing all kind of like researchy things like zero knowledge and something more immediately applicable like tool and infrastructure. We cover it all, and we help ecosystem to discuss, debate those things, and arrive to some solutions very quickly. So that actually makes us very reliable for the businesses building on NEAR, because they know that there is some time box for those discussions. And this is what actually differentiates us, let's say, from other blockchains. Decentralized DevRel is something that we are just picking up right now. The idea here is that we get community members to basically do all the things that you expect from the corp DevRel to typically do, which is supporting channels, managing all kind of communities, fixing documentation, repositories. You know, you don't want to have still issues or pull requests and so on. So we're not at full capacity there, but we are taking care of quite a lot of things already today. And finally, you probably heard that we took care of several large project transitions. We're actually doing more things than that. They're just more private right now. We are doing some things on demand. And this is because people see us as technical go-to experts and like confidence, someone that they can come to, and we take care of the large technical issues. So these are 4 things that kind of like cover like various patches in developer ecosystem growth. But what we really want to be known for, and can you switch to the next slide, is owning the entire developer ecosystem growth end to end. So we want to take care of everything that it comes to getting more developers on NEAR and make them stay and make them attract other developers. Going all the way from awareness to how do you get them engaged, how do you keep them around, how do you get them to refer other developers. And like if this is like a very loaded diagram here, but one thing that you can take up from it is what we call hangout space, which basically means it's in the retention layer here, which basically means this is where if you're running some project or like pipeline with working with developers and you don't know where to put developers in between your stages, right? But you don't want to lose them, bring them to our hangout space. This is where developers can engage in meaningful activities. And you can, you know, like have them there without potential losing them. So yeah, I don't think I have time to go in depth into this, but you can always press a pause on the recording and go back to this diagram. So next. So like 4 qualities that I think make Developer Hub unique as a project, even in a Web3 decentralized world. One of them is that we are very results oriented. So if you hear us doing creating some documentation or like video content or having some kind of event, then know that we are doing it not for the sake of creating documentation for the sake of documentation, creating an event for the sake of event. We need it for our funnel. We have expectations to what happens to developers after they go through this, or we're fixing some kind of a gap in our funnel. So we understand exactly how this leads to more developers that stay around and build a near ecosystem. So this is what it means for us to be results-oriented. Financial flexibility, this is what it comes from being a decentralized, like a Web3 organization, which means that we can shrink and expand based on how much financial support we get or other kind of support, which is not something you can do with the classic corporations. But with that makes us quite resilient to any kind of market movements. And yeah, so the third thing is I would call us functional bureaucracy. What it means is that we have processes, but they are here to make things move fast and make sure the expectations are matched, which means that we reduce the amount of frustration and drama happening. People know exactly why we're doing certain things. What is the process? As I said, businesses can and projects can rely on this because they know when exactly the review is going to happen, when it's going to be done, what needs to happen for that. That creates this kind of a Swiss clock, the heartbeat of the ecosystem that everyone can rely on. And finally, we want to scale through our community. So the more things we do, the bigger the developer community is, and we use this developer community to scale further. So this is a growth loop. It's like a self-supporting ecosystem. Yeah, that's basically our 4 aspirations, 4 qualities of DevHub. So how do you interface with us? Today you interface through what is called like neardevhub.org. So that's a landing page that lives itself on near.org or near discovery, as we call it. There we have various communities. You can create your own. You can connect GitHub, Telegram to it. You can start, proposing all kind of things in there. And this is the place to brainstorm. This is the place to problem solve and get things done and find like-minded people. Yeah, so that's us so far. We continue developing and improving. I forgot to say who we are. When I say we, I mean a group of people actually distributed across multiple organizations and ecosystem. We have a whole bunch of people not hired by any specific company. It's just people from the ecosystem being paid directly, like in crypto. A couple of people in Pagoda, like a couple, 1 or 2 people in your foundation. So it doesn't really matter for us where people are coming from when they work for DevHub. It's a decentralized social structure. So yeah, thanks everyone. Engage us through this near DevHub.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Max. Really good in-depth kind of overview of what you guys have been working on. It's awesome to see the progress. So I'm here to kind of open up for these awesome projects that are building on Near. I'm not going to take too much time because I'm not the interesting one. It's these guys, these folks. So without further ado, DW, next slide, please. Let's get right into it. We have a Murder Mystery Collective.
Hey, everyone. I just want to start off by thanking Marcus and the Near Foundation for having us on the town hall today. We're super excited to be here. And in the interest of time, let's dive right in. We can go to the next slide. So for anybody who doesn't know us, we are the Murder Mystery Collective. We are bringing our community-driven murder mystery concept to life in Web3 on Near protocol, of course. And our concept consists of presenting different murder mystery storylines and cases to our community and interactive ways for them to solve by uncovering clues, solving puzzles, gathering evidence, and ultimately using their best detective skills to crack the case. And if we go to the next slide, our flagship product is our on-chain game that we're developing on Near protocol. So we're currently deployed on Near's testnet, and our game is played in seasons. So each season is going to represent a different murder mystery storyline that we present to the community. It's going to last roughly around 6 to 8 weeks per season, and our upcoming season 1 is going to be based on the case of the mysterious death of John Norris and the mystery of the FSM Superstore. So stay tuned for that. And if you go to the next chain, we really wanted to make sure that while we're developing the game, that we were still creating an amazing community experience and focusing on community building through our Discord. So there has been no shortage of activities and fun stuff going on for our community to partake in. If you haven't already, I encourage you to hop in our Discord. You'll notice that our community is super engaged, super friendly. I've made so many friends since we've launched. It's just been a complete blast in there. And our staff is amazing, active, and we've got frequent updates, really eager to help any newcomers as well. We've integrated a ton for our holders into the Discord. So we've got our MMC Jams channel, which is like a community jukebox channel where folks hang out, listen to music together, weekly poker nights. We've integrated ChatGPT and Stable Diffusion for folks to be able to actually ask questions of AI. We've got a ton of collabs, partnerships going on, and of course, some mini games and events that we have as well. And our murder mystery concept has launched in our Discord. So we have twice per month these large community murder mystery events with different immersive and interactive ways for folks to, like I said, solve these different cases we're presenting them. And of course, some puzzle events for our puzzle lovers in the community. And everything that we do has this XP earning system in Discord where you can earn this XP for participating in events and redeem some prizes in our marketplace. And then lastly, the last slide here. If you're looking at this or you've heard of the Murder Mystery Collective and you're just thinking, how do we get involved? We think of our mission is completely aligned with NEAR in really making that onboarding experience as easy as possible. And so we've come up with this ramped onboarding system where there's really any entry point for anybody who wants to get involved. So all of our events, our on-chain game, everything is public and free to play. We also have we've partnered with ShardDog for our investigator badge, which is a free claimable. If you're new to digital assets, new to a NEAR wallet, you can get your badge and start partaking in our cases. And then of course we have our 2 NFT collections with different roles and responsibilities and utility offering in both our events and our on-chain game as well. So definitely pop in, ask any questions you have. We look forward to seeing you around, and just thanks again for having us here today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then we still have a few more. So let's move on. We have Genadrop presenting what they're building, some awesome tools and kind of a component on Boss. And then we also have Indexer that they are leveraging to kind of provide an overview of what they're offering as well. So yeah, without further ado, we'll segue into that.
Yeah, Eid Mubarak, everybody. I'm a contributor at Genadrop. We're a multi-chain minting solution and marketplace on NEAR, Aurora plus 4 EVMs, and Algorand, and have heavy alignment with Boss as a gateway, but also building multi-chain components. And we're actually currently converting our whole stack to Boss. If you can go to the next slide. So we've always been open source, but a friction point that we had was actually onboarding developers to the team and the time to get acquainted with the code base. So the decision to move our stack to Boss is that Boss provides the ability for us to have a developer immediately set up their development environment and then approach features in a modular fashion. And then for us to integrate that into our gateways, UI, UX, and then other NFT platforms and use cases to do so as well. And so these are some features that we've been building, and also some features that are on the roadmap. We have a lot of EVM stuff to do in the NFT space as well. If you go to the next slide, we got things like AI minting coming up directly on Boss. But another thing that it makes us easily able to do is leverage key partners and players in the ecosystem. For example, Mintbase leveraging their not only marketplace, but their indexer and day right now, and then using Indexer as a tool to not only index NEAR NFTs, but things from the SWE, Aptos, and Stacks marketplaces directly on Boss. And this is also part of another decision to even like list directly to multiple marketplaces at the same time and provide that feature as well. And yeah, so that's basically it. We have the marketplace features coming up in like all the following EVMs, and these are what we'll be supporting on Boss. Some major call to actions is join the builder community. There's a bunch of Boss telechats help us composably build NFT components on Boss. We have a public backlog. Secondly, there's the NFT Builder Group where they meet bi-weekly, and there's also an NFT work group coming out of the NDC. So I heavily encourage you to join all of that. And yeah, I think Indexer is going to come on, and shout out to them for providing a startup API key that we're leveraging on Boss. So
yeah, thanks for showing that. And it's great to see folks implementing this on Boss, using Indexer, and then building some really cool multi-chain tools. So great example for folks. I wanted to just kind of let the ecosystem know that we are providing a startup program through Indexer. So we're passionate about helping developers both at large companies and individual developers be able to innovate. And so a lot of the times is one of the big roadblocks for developers. So we're providing a startup program for developers that are wanting to get started and build NFT applications or integrate NFT features into their applications. Do 10,000 free API calls per month, which from what we've seen is enough for folks to get kind of full featured applications up and running, and get to kind of concept with that. So we want to, was said before, we support Aptos, Near, Stacks, and we'll continue supporting more chains, continue rolling those out. So startups that use us will be able to leverage all of that data and put it in Boss through the Indexer Startup Program. So we're excited to see what people build in the ecosystem, and excited to help support, accelerate, developer activity on Near.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shot. Thank you so much, Daniel. Really appreciate you coming on. Next up, we have Music Feast, presented by Justin, who is actually at Collision right now, and he's also representing Near at Collision. So I really appreciate you taking the time to hop on during all the
Hey, not a problem. Not a problem. Hopefully you guys can hear me. So I just want to introduce to you Music Feast. If you want to move on to the next slide, please. So Music Feast was designed to revolutionize the music industry by giving artists the tools that they need to succeed. We basically have a marketplace that allows an artist to build out their own community, fan club, and sell access points to that fan club. If you could move on. So more than that, within the community and within the fan club, they can offer exclusive content. So they can sell exclusive video content, limited edition merchandise, song ownership, which is part publishing, distribution, sync licensing, and auction items. If you could move. It also allows artists to collect key metrics and identify key analytics from their community. So every single person within that community is a paid fan, which then the artist can actually cater to. It helps weed out the noise of social media and really help identify key supporters. For the fans, it means a more meaningful and direct connection with the artist. So Everyone Eats Entertainment is a DAO. And what we'll do is we will run analytics and pull the top performing artists. The DAOs can then choose and vote on incubation, marketing plans and strategies, and really start to get involved in the artist's career and have that direct connection. That's a little bit about Music Feast. So if you want to check us out, you can come into musicfeast.io.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Justin. I know how busy you are at Collision. Keep doing your thing. Thank you for coming on. Next up and last up on the ecosystem section, before we segue into NEARWEEK, we have an awesome NFT bridge solution that has recently integrated Near. And I wanted to give these folks the spotlight to kind of run through how to leverage it and what it's capable of doing. So without further ado, Dima, I hand you over, the floor is yours.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Marcus, and thank you, Near Foundation, for having us here. It's a real pleasure to become a part of this community and this family, and I hope our mutual integration will last for many years. So let me speak a little bit about our product. Our main product is the NFT bridge. And can we please move to the next slide? So for most bridges, for most famous bridges, NFT bridging is just a nice to have side project, while they're mainly busy with bridging fungible tokens. Well, for us, it's the main product that we deliver to the market. Can you click so that, yeah, more lines appear? Right. So actually, there are several problems that bridging NFT has in comparison to bridging fungible tokens. So basically, what is a fungible token? It's just a number in a contract. It's just a number in somebody's account. While there's metadata, which is usually off-chain, attached to every NFT. And handling this metadata is a major issue when bridging NFTs. For example, it happens a lot, this metadata is written inside smart contracts, and it's this link to the metadata is immutable, while something might happen with the link. For example, IPFS account is deleted and there's no more metadata. And then what are you going to do? Or for example, there's only one computer on the entire planet that holds this information, and then you will wait forever for this IPFS to ever respond, and then it will just time out and you will never get this metadata. Then some projects just tend to violate the standards of their own ecosystem, because some of them just don't know what the standard was, and some of them just think that they're being creative, and standards are not for creative people, right? And then our bridge adapts to those violations, to those latencies and everything. So we try to integrate each project with individual approach, like a boutique bridge in comparison to the other bridges, and try to help solve the problems of each individual collection that wishes to migrate, at least partially, which you will never meet in other bridges for whom it's just a side project, while for us it's the main product. Then many bridges boast that they have a lot of value locked in the bridge. Right, they boast, I have so many millions of dollars, I have so many billions of dollars locked in my smart contracts. We boast the opposite. We say there is so little value locked in our contracts that hackers won't ever bother to hack them, because it will take them approximately the same amount of effort to hack, because we certainly protect our bridges and validators the way the other fungible token bridges do. But then when you hack a fungible token bridge, you can loot millions or sometimes billions of dollars. Not that I did billions, of course I'm exaggerating, but anyway, millions are at stake, right? While here you will get a bunch of unique tokens that are like fingerprints on the blockchains that will be very hard to get away. So basically bridging with us is more secure than bridging with big fungible token bridges, just because we are less interesting, less lucrative from the point of view of a hacker, while the effort will be approximately the same. Next is our cross-chain validators implement the frost threshold signature, which means they are scalable to any amount without compromising the security or the cost. So we can have unlimited a number of validators, while you will still pay the same transaction fees for those, which makes it very secure, very robust, and cheap. Can we go to the next slide, please? Right, so we already support over 30 blockchains. Most of them are EVM chains. They are represented here in the first two columns. Can you click once more, please? Yep. And the last table on the right, those are non-EVM chains, including NEAR, that we support. This is the only bridge that supports so many EVM to non-EVM chains solutions that you won't find any other bridge that does that. For some chains, we are still the only NFT bridge. For example, Algorand, Tezos, Secret Network, Ton, ICP, and for some EVM as well. For example, Gatechain, VeChain, even Harmony. So basically, they say that they have another token bridge, but everybody who ever bridged NFTs to from Harmony, they used our bridge. Can we go to the next slide, please? Right, so we have an intuitive UI. It's very easy to use. First, you connect the wallet, then you select the destination and the departure chain. You select one or several NFTs that you want to bridge. You provide the receiver address. It has to match the destination chain key pair. Then you approve it in the NFT contract, and then you transfer. So it's very easy. The amount of steps. Yeah, amount of steps is like around 5 or so. Let's go on to the next slide, please. Right, besides the bridge, we have a bridge explorer. Not all bridges or not many bridges even have an explorer. It's super important for NFTs. So while fungible tokens are just numbers, so you don't care whether this number traveled to other chains or not, but the value of NFT is often estimated from the history of whatever happened with this NFT or some story behind this NFT. So in order not to lose this story while we are moving NFTs between chains, we have an explorer. And as you can see, it gives you extensive information of what happened to this NFT. You can filter to or from chains. You can have a table of transactions to have a general view. You can see how much each transaction cost to whoever sent it. You can also click the original destination hash to see the transaction on the Chain Explorers, or you can open a transaction view and see more details of what happened with this NFT in this bridge transaction. Next slide, please. Besides the UI, we have a widget, which is easy to set up. You can set up this widget within minutes. Everything is adjustable. You can select which chains you want to be your destination or chains of origin, which wallets you want your community to use. Every component in this widget is also adjustable. You can even set the background to be transparent. For example, if you want to embed this widget inside a game or inside a fancy front-end page. Besides, you can even add additional fees for hosting this widget, and every transaction that you encouraged will bring you some money, and it's up to you to decide how much you're getting. And everything can be done like within 10 minutes. We have video tutorials how to do that. So you can embed it on your front pages, and you will be able to earn some crypto from the bridge transactions. Can we go to the next slide, please? So what are the use cases? The list is very long, but the most common use cases why someone would want to bridge their NFTs is the following. So for example, an NFT project has produced, let's say, 10,000 NFTs, and they managed to sell, let's say, half in one ecosystem, and then they want to give a second life to the NFTs on some other ecosystem, and then they can bridge the second part of the collection to another protocol. For example, one project could want to expand a project that is an NFT game, for example. They want to expand the player base so they can migrate part of their NFTs, sell them in a marketplace on a foreign chain, foreign to the original project. And then the users will buy those NFTs, and in order to use them, they will have to go back to the chain of origin, or they can even build a layer or several layers of their game, like levels, in different protocols to attract more users. For example, sometimes something happens with a blockchain and projects want to migrate to another blockchain. For example, a blockchain could be hacked, and the project want to go to other more secure blockchains, such as NEAR, for example, from others that have been hacked, right? And for example, they will need a lot of time to learn the new technology, but they want their community to quickly migrate to a foreign chain. And it will be kind of complicated for them to start building a smart contract on the other chain so that it matches the environment, and every marketplace treats those NFTs as native, as if they were born here. And the bridge is there for you. You just send them, and if there's no contract, the bridge automatically deploys the contract for this collection. and you have your own collection contract on the chain where you have no idea how it works. Okay, all you have to do is just create an account, destination account that will receive those. Okay, for example, another use case is, for example, on some chains, somebody built a solution which involves NFTs. For example, you can use NFTs for lending, borrowing. You can stake maybe NFTs and get some rewards for that. Or you can use NFTs for collateralization in this lending and borrowing of other fungible tokens, for example. And then you can migrate your NFTs there. You can stake them, you can lend them, or you can collateralize them. And then when you don't need this money anymore, you can return them back to the chain where you originally bought this NFT. Also, even blockchains can migrate NFT collections as a part of their marketing plan of promoting themselves on foreign chains. Because every time we bridge an NFT to a foreign chain, it always says, I was born on this chain. So for example, if Near wants other chains to say, hey, I have a huge NFT ecosystem, come and join it. So you can bridge a lot of NFTs to other chains, sell them in marketplaces, and everybody will see that this NFT was born on Near protocol. So can we go to the next one, please? Basically, we were told that we have a very short, very little time frame here. So this was very, very brief about our project. If you want to know more, go to our documentation. We add at least one page every week. So every time we change something in the bridge, we'll also reflect it in the documentation. And please try our bridge. It's very easy, very cheap, very simple. And I hope you will also become part of our ecosystem and we will be part of yours. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dima. And next, we're going to transition to NEARWEEK to provide an update on all the awesome stuff that they've been working on, the boss integrations, and kind of how to get involved. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and hand it over.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Marcus. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you perfect.
Perfect. Okay. In that case, let me see. Oh, I think someone is sharing their screen, so it's not letting me share my screen. 1 second.
There you go.
Okay, let's see if it works. Perfect. Okay, hi everyone. Hi everyone, pleasure to meet you. I'm Hero, content. I handle everything content at NEARWEEK, and I'm here to just give a brief overview of how NEARWEEK can both sort of incentivize community participation and empower your favorite projects in the ecosystem, and how it can use the boss to sort of leverage that in an open source way. So let me just move this. So if you look at the screen right now, you'll see an op-ed by Ilya that he posted like last week. It's actually quite on topic, right? It's about how sort of you can use provenance tracking via cryptographic signatures in order to sort of verify if content is real. And this is like, there's constantly news coming out like this that's very interesting about the ecosystem, and quite often about smaller projects as well, about startups, and that deserves exposure. And so how can NEARWEEK sort of be there to empower that while sort of leveraging the open web to its fullest capabilities? It's something that we at NEARWEEK are very interested to explore. So the way it has sort of been going as it has recently has been that if this gets posted, right, a news source, then we have this Twitter bot, like the NEARWEEK Twitter bot, and through that you can actually, by just doing submit at NEARWEEK bot, you can send it to our DAO. Now, how can we sort of enhance this by using the blockchain operating system? Well, one way is quite simple. So we have now these like DAO feeds that are there, and through this we can actually you can sort of we incentivize community participation by you can actually get like 0.5 Near by just submitting news. And so at NEARWEEK we have a very strong call to action, right? Which is just start submitting news to our DAO. You get paid for it. But also it really helps actually decentralize the whole ecosystem, because we actually go about it in a very transparent process. And that's what I really want to highlight today, because how can we sort of use the boss, right, to sort of leverage traditional Web2 entities in order to be more accountable and transparent? Because NEARWEEK itself, right, we do the where we have a pleasure to do the official Near Protocol newsletter every week. In that regard, we're a public good, but we're also just sort of Web2 native in our tech as a concept, right? So how can we sort of actually use Web3 to enhance this? So for that, I want to show that like we have these DAO widgets now that just show how we've actually really been working at increasing the amount of community participation and community aggregation for this. So you'll see our DAO submissions for this is all news coming from the community has actually been on a quite rapid incline. Let me see. I don't know if that was blocking the screen. So this is our news contribution DAO. I believe it's also the most active DAO in there, but I'm not too sure. So that goes then to the next stage, right? So this is how we are actually able to aggregate news from the entire community. So it doesn't matter where you're in the world, we're able to aggregate your news. And if it gets approved in our DAO, then it gets, for example, just sent to this feed right now, just immediately upon approval. This is a collaborative feed we've been making with our friends at Pagoda. And this is even before it goes into the newsletter. So we can actually leverage this widget in a lot of different forms. And it just actually, it's high quality news because it meets the criteria. It's actually quite unbiased to a certain degree. But this is sort of showing just how you can actually get community participation to increase both engagement, but also incentivization, right? Because at NEARWEEK, we're quite a small team, so we would never be able to do this in a sort of fair, transparent manner in like a Web2 way for such a large ecosystem. So together with Pagoda, we've been sort of exploring ways to fully merge with the boss. So how does that really look like, right? So for example, this is just a bit of a customized feed where we have our newsletter widget here. And it just shows like, okay, how can we actually really use the boss to integrate within the community? So how can we really use that to sort of connect all participants in the network? And one of these ways is via just the boss, right? Because now if you were to go to subscribe, it would lead you to our custom Shardog link. Shout out to the team at Shardog for sort of building this with us and helping us explore that events. But also, it's a way that previously we were not really able to really connect all these open web elements. And so that's what the boss is really allowing us to do. And how can we sort of make that in a transparent way? Well, it's quite easy, right? Because everything is accountable for. Even though the sort of curation part of the news is centralized at NEARWEEK, we can actually be held quite accountable for our decisions, and we encourage the community to actually sort of engage with us. So you see, I just recently in this call, I made a post that sort of outlines on their social our submission criteria for news. It's quite a rough draft, right? We've been using this for a few months. It is quite unbiased, but it could definitely use community feedback and improvements. And that doesn't stop there, right? So if you feel the main goal, right, for accountability is if you feel, hey, my project, right, or my favorite project that I like is not actually making it to the newsletter, but we're doing a lot of, we're submitting to the DAO for the official Near Protocol newsletter, and it's just not appearing there. You can actually just look at the Sputnik DAO history, right, and see if the proposals are approved. Say they're then rejected, right? Then we actually have our rejecting criteria right here. So if it doesn't meet this criteria and it's rejected, well, it's a clear error on our part then. Vice versa, if it gets accepted, it's quite interesting because then it has been either an editorial decision or as in there was too much news that week. But regardless, you know, if that keeps on going, like if your news keeps on not being featured, for example, you're actually able to really identify the source point to this in a transparent process. So if we now go, this is the Shardog link, also shout out Lomican. So that's sort of how we do it, right? So then the news gets curated by our team. This happens in a centralized manner. Also shout out Lomakin, and it just gets sent to the ecosystem, and this is curated by the community. So how can we now sort of, so to just wrap this off quickly, because I know we're on time constraints. I'm sure we've all seen sort of the foundation slide, right, that Ilya just keeps on presenting ad nauseum, you know, the one with the widgets, and there's like Bitcoin and Uber, and there's like Netflix and Refinance, and you know, and all these like, and they create like an open web stack. And sure, it sounds good, but I can imagine a lot of us are like, okay, but what does, you know, like ref and chill sounds good, but what does it actually mean in practice? So I thought I'd just demonstrate that. So yesterday I compiled this quick sort of page, and it's like an editorial page, right? So it collates our medium, where we actually cover a lot of the boss itself, but also just other parts of the ecosystem. And it's just a merging of these different widgets. So you actually can just engage with the newsletter. You can just read it, subscribe it. You can engage with just the news coming in. This is like, this is the most recent news it is, because as the DAO approves it, it gets added to this widget. Again, thanks to the bright people at Pagoda for helping us sort of come up with these, and hopefully we can create more general ones for the whole ecosystem. But this is sort of a forked version, right? Just to be NEARWEEK specific. But now, how does that sort of, that's good and all, but it's like a website almost, right? It's like an editorial landing page. So how does the boss enable us to really elevate this? Well, really, it's because it allows us to merge Web3 with Web2 in a seamless manner. Because now, say you go down, right? We have this payout proposal widget, and you can actually just submit your news right here in this. It's because they're all embedded, right? In the same place where you're just reading your news, and it's directly to this to AstroDAO. And previously, someone would have to actually go all the way to the AstroDAO page, right? Locate the DAO itself, and make a submission for that to really get incentivized to be part of this process, which obviously is not convenient at all. And now you can actually seamlessly integrate it with these Web2 solutions as Medium, and just on a single page, right? And this is now accessible to anyone. And so it's not even, this really creates for some real world solutions, because it's not only NEARWEEK that can leverage this, it's almost sort of any editorial publication that wants to be transparent about, you know, ecosystem participation, and also incentivize them to participate in the aggregation of news. And so, yeah, just to wrap things off, right? Please do actually go to the Near Social. Let's see if you can find it. Yeah, the Near Social post I made about the guidelines. Give some feedback. Also subscribe to the newsletter if you haven't, with the ShareDoc link, and just get involved in the ecosystem. And I think the boss, in such a manner, really promotes just more community participation. And that way, it will eventually bring back value to the ecosystem, because now we're able to do things we actually weren't before. So thank you for your time, and I'll speak soon.
Thank you so much, Hero. And the last part of the section is what I teased earlier. So DW, if you want to go ahead and take the lead on what people can expect moving forward for town halls.
Sounds great. Can you stop sharing your screen so I can share mine? Perfect. All right. Okay, cool. So the last thing here, this is a work in progress, but it's live now. It is a TownHall Hub, actually built, it's forked from the DevHub, so it looks quite similar to that. But what this will be, and it's living on Near Social as well, and we'll probably have a URL that goes directly to it at some point soon. But basically, high level, it'll be a repository of all past town halls. So you can see here the past couple of them, with links to the deck and the recording. And then what we're going to be doing now for future town halls is putting out the agenda in advance in a post, and then have a forum or a place where people can ask questions that we can answer at the town hall coming up, or if there are any ideas people have for topics that they would like to hear about, you can definitely use this moving forward to share those ideas, and we'll get back to you and incorporate more and more of the community's questions and ideas into future town halls. And the link is in the deck, which we will send out as well. And that is it.
Thank you all so much. Hopefully you got some value out of this. And we will definitely look forward to seeing you at the next town hall and have more active and engaged conversations on the Town Hall Hub.